Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to jump into the whole world of business improvement. We'll look at two really powerful but kind of opposite ideas. The small, steady steps of Kaizen versus the giant leaps of something like Six Sigma.
All right, so let's get right to it with the question that, honestly, every single company has to ask itself. Whether you're a two-person startup or a massive global corporation, how do the great ones stay great? How do they actually get better?
Well, spoiler alert, there's no magic bullet. Not at all. The real answer is that they wage this constant, relentless war on waste and defects. It's about systematically hunting down inefficiency in everything they do. It's more than a process, it's a whole culture, a mindset of always chasing better.
Okay, so to really get how they pull this off, we have to go back to the beginning. We need to look at the foundation, the bedrock, really, that almost all modern quality thinking is built on.
And that foundation is something called the Juran Trilogy. It was developed by a legend in this field, Dr. Joseph Juran. Honestly, you can think of it as the DNA for quality management. It's this really elegant, powerful system of interconnected ideas for running things well.
So here's how it works, in a nutshell. First, you plan for quality. You design it in from the get-go, not as an afterthought. Second, you control it. That means you're watching your processes in real time, making sure you're staying on track. And then, and this is the key part, you improve. You're actively working to make things better than they were yesterday, to hit totally new levels of performance. It's this constant looping cycle.
Okay, now that third step, improvement, that's where things get really interesting. See, it's not just one single path. It's more like a fork in the road, leading to two very different but equally powerful philosophies for how you get better.
So, on one hand, you've got the whole idea of continuous improvement. Think slow, steady, small wins that add up over time. And on the other hand, you've got breakthrough improvement. We're talking radical, game-changing jumps forward.
And you can really see the difference here. That Kaizen approach, it's like a steady ramp, just climbing consistently, one small step after another. But a breakthrough? Whoa, that's a huge, steep jump. A whole new level of performance, seemingly overnight.
So let's dig into that first path, the one with all the small, consistent steps, the one the world knows as Kaizen.
Kaizen is a Japanese term, and it basically means good change. And the whole idea isn't about some massive CEO-mandated project. No way. It's a mindset. It's about creating a culture where literally everyone, from the person sweeping the floor to the person in the corner office, is always on the lookout for tiny ways to improve things.
So the magic of Kaizen really is in the numbers. It's not about one big idea, it's about hundreds, maybe thousands, of tiny improvements that all add up to this huge cumulative effect. You're basically turning everyone in the company into a problem solver, and that builds incredible momentum and weaves improvement right into the fabric of the company's culture.
But what if small steps just aren't going to cut it, What if your whole market gets turned upside down and you need a giant leap, like right now, just to survive? Well, that's where the breakthrough systems come into play.
And the king of breakthrough systems, the most famous one, is probably Six Sigma. This is that super disciplined, data-obsessed methodology that companies like Motorola and GE use to become absolute legends. The entire goal of Six Sigma is to get as close to perfection as humanly possible by finding and crushing any and all variation in a process.
And at the core of Six Sigma, you'll find its engine. It's a 5-step problem-solving process, and it's called DMake.
And it's just so logical. First, you define the problem, crystal clear. Then you measure where you are right now, get that baseline. Then you analyze all that data to find the real root cause, not just symptoms. After that, you improve the process with a very specific solution. And finally, and this is so important, you put controls in place to make sure you don't slide back. It's all about facts and data, zero guesswork.
Now, Six Sigma isn't the only game in town for breakthroughs. There's also something called re-engineering. And if you thought Six Sigma was intense, this one's even more radical. Re-engineering doesn't ask, how can we fix this process? It asks, if we threw this whole thing out and started from a blank sheet of paper today, how would we build it? It's a total teardown and rebuild looking for a quantum leap forward.
Okay, so you've got these two big ideas, right? On one side, the 1,000 small steps of Kaizen. On the other, the giant data-driven leaps of Six Sigma and re-engineering. So the million-dollar question is, how does a company choose? Which way do you go?
And the most important thing to get here is that there is no single right answer. It's a trick question. It's never about which one is better. It's always about which one is right for the situation you're in right now. Context is king. It all depends on your business, your culture, your people, and the specific problem you're trying to solve.
Actually, a great way to think about this is like a spectrum, or maybe a toolkit with 4 main tools. First, you can just repair something that's broken. That's purely reactive. Or you can refine a process that's already working. That's your proactive, incremental Kaizen stuff. Then you can renovate it with a big breakthrough, your Six Sigma project. And finally, you can just reinvent the whole thing from scratch.
And that really brings us to the final, most important point. The question was never, should we use Kaizen or Six Sigma? The real answer is yes. The smartest, most successful organizations get that they need both. They build a culture of improvement that's flexible enough to know when a quick repair is needed, when it's time to refine with 1,000 tiny steps, and when they have to gear up for that giant transformative leap. They don't just pick one tool, they master the whole toolbox.